why did you become a real estate investor?
Someone told me about 6 years ago how they owned several different properties, and because of that, they were able to make money and own their own time, do the things that they wanted to do. So when I finished homeschooling my kids and I was looking at what I wanted to do next, I wanted to explore real estate.
Hey everyone, I'm Olivia from Houses Flipping People. I'm here in McKinney, Dallas today with Mickey, one of our top real estate investors, and she's ready to share her journey with you. Mickey, it's so nice to have you here with us. And how long have you been involved with real estate investing?
About a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have any experience before you became a real estate with our inner circle?
I did not at all.
Not at all. And with all the careers out there, why real estate?
I like the idea, just like everyone else. You watch, the networks on TV, how they can transform houses. And I had someone in my family actually do that for a while, back when I was a young kid.
Okay, and who in your family was doing real estate?
That would be my father.
Your father? Wow, that's cool. Yeah. Was he a full-time real estate investor?
No.
He was not?
No. Okay. He had a side business, a furniture store, and he kind of did the real estate on the side. But he did it the hard way, where he did a lot of the work himself, and it would take years to transform the house.
But how old were you back then?
6, 7, 8.
Okay, but that's good that you still have an idea and memories growing up and seeing your dad doing it.
Right.
So for you right now, it's just looking back at flashback and forth, because you are actually doing the same step, but you're not actually doing what your dad was doing, putting hands on the project yourself. Right. So now you are, how you're doing right now?
A little bit easier. We have teams that come in and help transform the homes.
Mickey, so our first deal we never forget. So share with us, how was your first deal?
It was a foreclosure, and I was door knocking, and I drove up to the house, and there was a woman walking across the street from her friends, and I approached her and asked if it was, the woman that I was looking for, and she said, "Can I help you?" And I remember the script from Phil. "No, I'm actually here. I'm hoping I can help you." So she immediately said, "Bless you. I hope you're the one that can help me."
That is fantastic. So what is the script that Phil told you, or that you remember from the workshop?
I remember him sharing how he would get on the phone or visit with someone, knocking the doors actually, and they would say, "Can I help you?" And he indicated, "No, I'm actually here to help you."
So that's awesome that you remember and you are actually using that on your daily basis. Yeah. So how much money did you make with that particular deal?
$40,000.
Since the day that you approached that lady, how long did it took you to be able to close that deal?
45 days to close that with her.
How much money did you make with that particular deal?
$40,000.
Was that your aha moment?
Yeah, actually that was my very first day to go door knocking as well.
Really? How many doors did you knock on that day?
That was the first door.
So are you still door knocking until today?
Yes. Not as much as I was in the beginning, but definitely.
How many houses have you done or got under contract through door knocking?
4 or 5.
4 or 5?
Yeah.
And what is your main marketing today? Is it door knocking? What is your main marketing right now?
We do use voicemail and texting and cold calling. We use that, and then I door knock and do driving for dollars as well.
Okay, so you're pretty much doing the whole list. So that's awesome. And if you're looking back from that deal today, what did you learn with that specific deal?
That one was an overwhelming one because it was a reverse mortgage. So learned how to evaluate and deal with reverse mortgages, how that actually works, and had some people from the inner circle kind of helping me through that process.
How much did they actually help you with that process?
A great deal. That was my very first deal.
So Mickey, what were you doing before you became a real estate investor?
My background is actually in marriage and family counseling, and then I was a stay-at-home mom, a home educating mom. So I homeschooled my kids.
So what I just heard, because it sounds like you have a lot of patience, when it comes to talking to seller, you just pretty much listen and giving them what you probably learned your entire career, listen and give them, direct them to the right direction. because a lot of our sellers are struggling. Mickey, what were you doing before you became a real estate investor?
My background is actually in marriage and family counseling, and then I was a stay-at-home mom, a home educating mom. So I homeschooled my kids.
So how do you compromise being a family therapist? How do you use your background as a real estate investor today?
A lot of people in the foreclosure situation are very stressed and they feel like they can't trust anyone really. I've come across some people who are very suicidal, very, very hopeless. And I do think that the background that I have allows me to be a good listener and to just kind of take small steps with them and break it down and provide solutions and give them hope.
So did you ever thought about going through your career that you're actually going to use your background to become a real estate investor?
I think I'm very intuitive with people and connect well with them, but I did not think that it would help me in real estate investing.
How would you compare someone that is going through a foreclosure, who is having issue at home as a husband and wife that comes in for a counseling with you? How would you describe those two backgrounds or those two situations?
They're very similar. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot usually of them not taking any action. So they're in that situation because they didn't know how to solve those problems and they didn't take action. There's a lack of trust. So I think it's very similar. You come in and you deal with the stress first. I try to let them see I'm a real person. I can listen and understand their situation, try to help solve their problems.
And why do you love doing this?
Actually, I thought that real estate would be very far removed from counseling, but I actually am very thrilled that I can use my counseling background in this. I thought when I left counseling and went into real estate that I would not use those skills anymore. So I'm excited, that I get to use those skills.
And what excites you the most about being a real estate investor today?
Well, I like the idea that it's my time, that I can connect with people, solve problems, and make money.
How would you compare being a real estate investor versus a counselor or a therapist?
My time is still owned by someone else as a counselor, so this way I own my own time.
Where are you from originally?
Originally from Oklahoma, and I moved into Texas and actually grew up in the McKinney, Plano area.
That's cool. So when I moved from Brazil 20 plus years ago, I moved to Plano.
Oh, did you really?
Yes, I was there for 2 years, and I don't remember much about it, but I used to live in Plano, so
okay.
That's awesome. Then when I became a real estate investor, I started door knocking in Plano, McKinney. Those was my hot spot, and it still is, for door knocking. So that's awesome. And how about your parents? What do they do for a living today?
My mother's actually retired, but for a long time she was, she was a supervisor for quality control, kind of in manufacturing. My father owned a side business with furniture, and he kind of did the real estate on the side.
Do you remember which kind of real estate was he doing?
He did single family homes. He would buy really old homes, very dilapidated homes, and he would get them to a standard, and then we would move into those homes and live in those homes while he continued to rehab those homes.
So how many homes that you can think about it that you're actually, wow, this is another house? Do you remember how many houses did you guys went through that period?
I don't remember how many houses, but I do remember one specific house. It's on the historical registry for McKinney. It's now a venue in McKinney for wedding events and things like that. But we lived in that house while it was being rehabbed.
Oh, did you have the opportunity to tell your dad that you were actually going to become a real estate investor yourself?
I did mention it to him, but I mean, he was older, much older, and his mind was not very sharp by the time I started doing real estate investing.
Okay. Yeah. And do you have any other family member who is doing real estate investing with you?
Well, my immediate family is, yes.
Okay.
So my husband, he had a W-2 job for a while, defense industry, and he retired last year to do this full time. And our daughter is becoming a realtor to contribute to this, and then our son is in the multi-family realm.
So who did the first step
That would be me.
How did you decide to actually even come finding us into the network and the training? How did you find us?
I wanted to do it years ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to do real estate years ago. Did not have the knowledge that I needed. Thought I had to have tons of money to be able to do it on my own. And then I did some research and I learned that I could get into real estate investing without being a millionaire. And my son also had been in college and had a professor share how, you know, he invested in real estate and that's how he made his millions. So my son came home and said, I want to do this. I said, let's do it.
And how did you find our network?
So I started looking online and I found you on Facebook, on social media, and signed up for the venue, you know, coming to Dallas, and went to it, and it just seemed like there were just such amazing ways to jump in. A lot of strategies that I knew I would not have doing it on my own.
Why do you think it was such an easier decision for you to say yes?
Because I had considered the wholesaling thing that I had seen advertised out there. But when I went to the weekend or one of the networking events, it was just an evening that Phil was there, and he mentioned how there are a lot of different problems, and as a wholesaler you can't really solve all those problems.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he invited people to come to the longer event. So we signed up for that.
Do you regret moving forward today?
Oh, absolutely not. Not at all. Because I think if I had explored like the wholesaling, I would be out there competing with all of these wholesalers. I would not be able to speak to people and help solve problems and talk about different strategies, and I would not have all of the knowledge and tools that I have.
How would you think that you could have moving forward and then bring everybody for the ride?
Yeah.
How would you do that transition if it was the other way around? Because that happened all the time.
I do understand that, because initially I did get pushback from family members not to join the network, but telling me, no, you can't do that. You can't do real estate. You know, you have to have money to have real estate.
But why do you think they hold us back and they don't want us to move forward?
I think sometimes it's fear, it's that risk taking, you know, what is your comfort level with risk taking? But I also think it's just having the knowledge that I don't have to use my own money to invest, I can use other people's money.
How many people have you partnered with in our inner circle?
4 different people.
How do you differentiate being you, but also bring someone else in with their expertise and not overshadow each other and telling them what to do? Because I struggle with that.
Yeah, I have not struggled with that really yet, but the people that I have partnered with, we really use each other's strengths and weaknesses. So whatever you're good at, maybe I'm not, and what I'm good at, you know, maybe we support each other that way.
Yeah, I think what I have noticed is trust is a huge thing. So Mickey, since you became a real estate investor, did you have any doubts throughout the process?
Yes. I think there were times it kind of felt dry. There were not leads and deals coming in. But during those times, I needed to sit back and reevaluate what I was doing. You know, Phil talks about, you know, keep the leads coming in, never stop marketing. So I had to kind of think about what are the processes I need to set up, you know, what are the systems I need to set up to keep some of that going.
How long did it took you to learn the process? Like, okay, I got a house under contract, I don't want to stop the whole marketing. How long did it took you throughout the process to be like, no, I need the system? How was that process?
It took 2 deals because each one was very, very time consuming. They were elderly women who needed a lot of hands-on and needed a lot of support, and so it was like everything else stopped. So then when, you know, I started up again, it was like starting the whole machine up again. So I realized that, you know, we need to do something different so that it's not start, stop, start, stop.
So now you just got a house under contract and not just you're closing on this deal. How's your machine going? Is it ongoing, bringing leads in every day now?
Yes, we have a system in place where we're always looking for the next one. So we never stop.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you look back, what was your biggest fear in becoming a real estate investor?
I felt because my background was marriage and family and I don't like math, that's not something I'm very strong in, that I thought that would be kind of crippling. But the math is not hard and it's there. So for me, it was overcoming the idea that I'm going to do something in an area where I need to understand math.
So, Mickey, what keep you motivated moving forward and keep fighting to get your next deal or even finish a project and so on? What keep you motivated today?
I think the thing that motivated me is learning something from my mistakes each time I didn't get that deal and becoming stronger, and that just motivates me to keep getting better.
Do you feel like when you are going for the deal, are you going in because you have the opportunity to share your background, to give it back to the community, and to see if there is any deal that you can actually make for you and your family, but also helping that family? How do you relate to that?
I do. I look at it, I want to leave people in places better, and I have not met anyone that's in foreclosure so far or with the probate that doesn't need a counseling touch.
So when you do go out, when you do talk to a seller or to a lead, you do go in over open mind, open heart to give it back to the community, because you have the knowledge as a therapist and you also have the knowledge as a real estate investor and as a mother and as an entrepreneur. Mickey, what was your aha moment when you came to the 3-day workshop?
I knew I already wanted to invest in real estate. I didn't really know how to do it. So for me, going to that 3-day workshop showed me I didn't have to do it alone. I felt like I was standing on the edge of the cliff, like I wanted it, but I really didn't know. It felt like there was a lot of risk for me to take that. Being on the cliff and knowing that somebody's going to be able to help me and catch me if I fall.
Before we fall, because I don't want to be catched. I want to can you walk with me? Because I wanted to learn from my mistakes, but I don't want to pay to learn. I like to say I like to learn and earn. I don't like to pay and learn.
Learn while you earn.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But I think for me, it was, I knew I wanted to do the real estate. There was no question about it. But someone mentioned to me one time, the change has to be more desirable than the fear. So you have to be uncomfortable enough to want the change, and the fear has to be higher than the fear. And so I felt like I was right there wanting it, but didn't have a clear path to succeed in real estate.
I am super excited to talk about this deal that you actually just closed. So how did you find this deal?
This one was through cold calling, and my partner, my husband, cold called, and this individual had a lot of mental health issues and he fell out of his realm, so we really got her on the phone together, and really at that point I feel like we talked her off the ledge. She invited us in to see her home. It was somewhat hoarded, and we showed her the numbers and made an offer, and she was ready to sign. Since
the day that your husband made the phone call, how long did it took you to actually put it under contract?
The next day.
Wow, so she desperately wants help, and thank goodness of your background, I'm sure that did help going through the process much smooth and be able to communicate. So how much money are you predicting to make on this project?
Between 35 and 40,000.
And when are you planning to put this house on the market?
In about a month.
How does that make you feel?
Very excited. Very excited to go after the next one, right?
What are the journey that you are learning with this specific deal?
We had some liens that were interesting that slowed us down. I had an encounter with another investor who had an MOC on the property. He wanted $25,000.
Okay, how did you work that out?
I called him and let him know her situation. Her situation was very dire, but she had a lot of equity in the house, and just explained he was taking it out of her hands, that she needed this. She had a lot of health issues. She had a lot of debt. And we negotiated it down to $12,500, and that's as low as he would go.
How much money are you going to spend in renovation?
Probably about $30,000.
So Mickey, how much has real estate transformed your life?
My time is mine. I get to make money. I get to meet people. I get to solve problems and use my skills. My husband has left his work. I mean, it's just changed our lives. It really has.
How many years since you became a real estate investor?
A year and a half.
So Mickey, how much money have you made since you became a real estate investor with us?
It would be a little over $1 million.
And how does it make you feel when you say that number out loud? In a year and a half, you have transformed your entire career.
It's wonderful because, you know, remember, as a home educator, I made zero. It was all about giving, but not, you know, making any income.
How much money were you making back then as a therapist?
$60,000 a year.
So this has completely transformed. And what are the phase of the project that you are working on that you're saying those pretty much over $1 million?
So we have a buy and hold over in San Angelo, and we have this one that we just closed on that we should make 40 on in about 30 days. And then we have a property in Dallas and Bishop Arts that we are scraping and building condos. Interesting thing over this property in Bishop Arts is I was actually very new at the time we got this under contract. We've had it under contract for a year.
Wow.
And just closed. And now we're scheduling demolitions.
How many condos are you guys planning to build there?
We're only going to build 4 on this swath of land. Yes.
And how much is costing to build each of them?
About $200,000.
$200,000. And how much was the land?
About $297,000.
$297,000. So that's a pretty good profit there. And are you partner with people from our network in this deal as well?
Yes.
So Mickey, who do you like to thank for you to be here today with us?
Oh my goodness, I want to thank Noah and Phil.
Why?
Because it was their advertising that popped up on Facebook that grabbed my attention. It was their marketing that pulled me in, that emailed them, and their network event. You know, actually I guess it was a RIA, you know, that I visited, and then the 3-day workshop that kind of cinched the deal. Yeah.
So who else would you like to thank for you to be here today?
I'd like to thank my family for trusting in this process, because I know it was a bit of a risk to do the real estate investing. So besides Phil and Shanoa and the networking group, I'd say thank you to my family for being willing to take that risk and jump in it with me.
So Mickey, thank you so much for taking the time, sharing your journey, sharing your story about your journey as a real estate investor. We really appreciate your time. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Olivia.